Stop wasting your time catching every single legendary in Kardmi. In the lore, they're treated as gods, but once you start playing with them in the street battles and in PvP, it's quick to see some are just not worth your sunburst and your time and your energy. Let's go ahead and dive into every legendary that has come out Season 1 and Season 2. There are 6 in total. We're going to dive into which ones are worth it and which ones are not. Let's go ahead and dive in. So I want to start off by saying that this game is absolutely not pay to win, but there are people in my comments who have rightly pointed out that shiny legendaries do give you an advantage when it comes to PvP, and the thing is that not all the legendaries that come out in the game are worth having as shiny. Some are a complete waste of money if you're just planning on whaling out and buying the exclusive capture cards to capture them until you have shinies. So today, we'll be taking a look at several different factors that define how good a legendary is when we're talking about their what type they are, their passives, and their signature skills as well. So like I said, there are 6 in total, 3 from Season 1 and 3 from Season 2. If you are newer to the channel and you're newer to Kardmi in general, I want to reiterate that you need to understand that you cannot access any of the Season 2 Kardmi at all until you complete Season 1. So I'll be sure to mention which season each legendary comes from. Let's go ahead and dive into the list. So we're going to start at number 6 on this list, which is the probably on paper sounds like the best of the legendary Kardmi, but in practicality is actually probably the worst. So at number 6, we have the Season 2 Lightning Thunder type, which is Thundermamm. And Thundermamm is really interesting looking. I like its design a lot. And in lore, it is existing and designed to keep the other 2 legendary Kardmi from Season 2, Mantinic and Cobark, in balance as they perpetually duel throughout the ages, which I think in lore is a really cool Kardmi as well. But let's take a look at its passive ability, which is Elemental Sacrifice Ice. So for every Kardmi with an Ice type attachment on the field, and this Kardmi gains a 40% buff to special attack, and it caps at 160%. Sounds insane, right? Sounds like then this thing can do some serious damage. And to that I would say, yeah, you're right. It really could, especially because it has a high special attack base skill anyway. Or base stat anyway. So it's a monster when it comes to absolutely nuking the field. Especially when you look at its signature move, which is Thunderous Might. 105 damage, AoE attack, chance of inflicting paralysis on target. Great. Great move. Like I said, high base stat of special attack. It sounds like it's going to be a very good card. However, when you consider how situational this is, and what are the odds that you're going to be fighting with against 2 ice types and have an ice type of your own. Now you can control that you have an additional ice type Kardmi, so it gets a buff from itself, which is 40, and then you can partner with another ice type, so you can pretty much guarantee that you're always going to have an 80% buff to special attack and attack, but you can't guarantee that you're going to get that additional 80% buff, which could be the difference between you winning and losing a battle. So for that reason, I have Thundermamm at number 6. Really interesting design, love the lore implications, super strong on paper, and has the potential to be really, really strong in certain situations. However, I unfortunately do see Thundermamm kind of losing some of its luster as the seasons progress, and that's one reason that I put it at number 6, because right now, Season 2 server, you're going to be fighting a lot of Ice type Kardmi. However, as we move on, and Ice is not really the theme anymore, we're going to fight less and less, and you're not really going to be getting that full benefit of its passive ability. So moving on to number 5, we have the Season 1 exclusive, which is Sylviven, which was the very first exclusive Kardmi that I ever saw when I first started the game. I jumped in close to Season 1 beginning, and this was an event that was going on whenever I joined. It was called the Divine Descent. And it's a good Kardmi. It's a good Kardmi. Particularly, again, it's kind of situational, and it has a little bit of luck that goes into this one, but if you can pull off the right moveset and luck is on your side, it can be an effective card to me. I have it at number 5 just because I don't want to always rely on luck when it comes to my battles. So like I said, Season 1 exclusive, this is a Psychic Wind type, and its passive is pretty much exactly what you'd expect from a Pokemon when you read this name. It's Rain Dance. So when this Kardmi is deployed, change the battlefield to rain for 5 turns. That also increases water type attacks by 30% for those 5 turns as well. And then when we have its special move, its special skill, is Divine Descent. This is not a powerful move. However, it can add up. So Divine Descent is a 45 damage. And what it does is a 2-turn move. So turn number 1, it's going to take to this guy who's not going to be able to get hit at all. So you're guaranteed not to take any damage for 1 turn. The next turn, it will descend, it will do the damage, and on that attack, we'll have a chance of instilling fear. So this is where things get interesting. So I'm going to play out a scenario for you. Turn number 1, you're not getting hit. No matter what happens, you're not getting hit. Can't be hit once Sylviven ascends. Turn number 2, you have a chance to instill fear. Say you do instill fear. Okay, well then you're not going to get hit by that Kardmi 2 turns in a row. Turn number 3, if you use Divine Descent again, you're not going to get hit 3 turns in a row. And so as you can see, it kind of snowballs. It's a very good skill that snowballs. It's just not off rip extremely powerful. And you do have to be a little bit lucky, hoping that you can land the fear more than 1 time in a row. If that makes any sense. Coming in at number 4, is the Season 2 exclusive Mantinic. One of my favorites. I love his design. I really wish we had more bug-type Kardmi in the game as it is. So absolutely love his design. And he's a highly aggressive Kardmi that has a really, really interesting passive. He's a fighting ice type, and his passive is Magical Shell. It says once per turn, he will randomly dispel a debuff on himself. If no debuffs exist, then he would gain immunity. So the next time he would get a debuff, it's automatically dispelled, and that can stack. So for every turn he's not on the field with a debuff, he gets a stack of immunity. So if he doesn't have a debuff for 3 turns, and all of a sudden your opponent's like, hey, I'm gonna start trying to debuff him now. Nah. By the time the battle's over, he's most likely not gonna have any debuffs at all, if you're playing him right. Really good Kardmi. He's a really hard-hitting and fast Kardmi who really, his whole kit is, he's fast, he's going to hit you hard, he's going to hit you fast, and he's not going to allow you to weaken him. So that's a really good Kardmi and really good at PvP. His signature move is Mantis Punch. Honestly, I think probably the coolest looking skill in the game. All of the signature skills look really good because they're all full screen effects. And they look really good, and they're really thematic. I like them a lot. But this one is, I think, my favorite. And then it has a really good ability as well. In addition to doing a ton of damage, I didn't write down the number here in my notes of how much damage it does. I might have to pin it in the comments. But it increases his speed by 30% and his attack by 40% after using the skill. Really good attack. I like him a lot. I have him kind of middle in the pack. He's better than the other 2, both Thundermamm and Sylviven. Just not quite as good as the other 3 we're going to talk about. So, moving on to number 3, speaking of, we have his arch enemy. Now, what I like about this is in lore, there are some pretty heavy lore implications here. Number 3, we have Cobark. So, Cobark and Mantinic, you'll find out in Season 2 if you're not already there, are rivals. If you think about back with Pokemon and some of the Kardmi that would like duel for eternity, and you would have to have one that would keep them in balance. That was like Thundermamm is designed to keep them in balance in this game. But these guys duel for eternity. And basically, Cobark will feed on the nightmares of people in Gurdon, whereas Mantinic fights to defend the people from having their nightmares feasted upon. I'm not sure whether Cobark causes the nightmares himself. Be interesting to find that out in the lore if we ever get some kind of side quest for him exploring the lore. I know they've talked about adding a quest to flesh out some of these legendary Kardmi. I'm really excited about that. And we have had it confirmed that Picagarre, who's later on in this list, is going to be the first one that's going to get that one of those quests. But back to Cobark, who is a dark grass type, like I said, Season 2 exclusive. His passive is Nightmare Apostle. Now, this is a really interesting one because what it does is enemy card who are in a sleep state take damage equal to 50% of Cobark's special attack, which is a very good base stat of his, and they take that per turn. So he goes really good with a team that has running Hypnosis. And his signature ability also looks really cool. It is Endless Nightmares. It does 130 damage and a chance of inflicting sleep on a Kardmi target. No pun intended, any Kardmi that is asleep whenever he uses Endless Nightmares on him, you can say goodnight because that Kardmi is toast. It's a really good skill, really thematic, high damage, and it has a chance to put them to sleep. Can really turn the tide in the battle for you, honestly. We have him at number 3, but there are 2 that are just a little bit better. I think if we were going solely on offensive power, Mantinic and Cobark would be the top 2, honestly, just because of the utility and the power that they bring to the table. The top 2, though, are more support, and I think you really can't afford to have a complete team without either one of these 2 if you're running a Legendary. So number 2, we have Picagarre, who we're just talking about. Picagarre is a fighting type. And so her passive is Soul Flow. And it is immune to an ally's AoE attack. Gain self-damage plus 30% if ally is a fighting type card. Now this is one thing I'm not really sure about because I don't really use Picagarre a whole lot. Mainly because I use number 1 a whole lot. But I'm not sure if that means she takes additional 30% damage when she uses a self-damaging fighting type skill. I feel like it is, but I could be wrong. But the ability to be immune from allies' AoE is such a good skill and such a good passive to have because it doesn't restrict you so much on using those highly powerful AoE attacks. You don't have to worry about accidentally knocking out your partner. So that's really good. And what really puts her at number 2 on this list is her signature skill, which is Nirvanic Battle Dance. And what it does is that user's special attack, speed, and special defense are increased by 50% respectively until the end of the battle or she leaves the field. This makes her an absolute unit. She's hard as hell to take down with this skill once it's used. And I think it's one of the best skills in the game, honestly. There's really no point in running Picagarre if you're not running that skill. And unfortunately, it's exclusive to her. But jumping in to number 1 here, we have, if you guys have been playing the game for a little while, I'm sure you guys saw this comment, only one we haven't named yet, and it is Jenilex. Jenilex is easily the best Legendary in the game. There's a huge gap between Thundermamm and Jenilex. Jenilex is so good. Any PvP team you see is going to have Jenilex, I guarantee it. It's just such a good card to me. She is pretty much required for any in-game activity because of her healing abilities, and that is what makes her so good. So her passive is very lackluster, I think, but it can make the difference in some of these tighter battles. Her passive is called Time Warp, and it grants a 20% speed buff to allies. Like the name, I just think it's a little lackluster. However, she makes up for it with her signature ability, which is Celestial Blessings. Of course, this is exclusive to her. She's the only one that can learn it. And if I didn't already tell you, she's a Season 1 exclusive as well. And so, what Celestial Blessings does is it recovers 30% health to Jenilex and 1 ally, and then additionally increases damage reduction to 30% for that turn. And it's only costs like 4 or 5 energy, so you can use it pretty much repeatedly as often as you need to. Really, really good skill. I mean, I don't know anyone who's not running Jenilex for in-game content. The skill is just too good because really there's not a whole lot of team healing skills in the game. There's like cleansing or healing wind or something like that. And then this. There's Essence Absorption, or Essence Extraction, excuse me. That's a grass type skill, and Soul Nourishment, um, that are grass type skills that'll help you sustain yourself, but not really help you sustain the team, which is makes her integral in team building and, like I said, in-game activities. Now, I'm going to do something I think is a little interesting. I'm going to show you guys the shinies for each one, because I mentioned that these guys can cost you money if you want to whale out, because they all need exclusive capture cards, and you can grind them through events and stuff. I'm just going to throw some numbers at you. I have 177 right now, and you have to throw 80 cards at whichever one you want to get a shiny. You have to capture 80 of them, right? Or at least throw 80 cards at them. You don't have to capture them every time. So if they break free, don't worry about that. Like I said, you just have to put 80 card throws into them. So the $100 packs will net you about 20 exclusive for each. I have 177. Not because I've spent a ton of money on the game. I've actually only had a few sets gifted to me by the devs. I've actually, I think about 70 of those I've had gifted. Maybe about 80. And then I grinded out the rest of them myself. So it's entirely possible. It's easily possible if you follow events. And I do have a guide on how to do that. And I'll link it down below. But the point I'm making is, if you do want to try to whale out and get any of these shinies, definitely take into account what I've said here about which ones are worth it, which ones are not worth it. You also need to take into account that some of these guys are absolutely useless without their skill. Their passives make them pretty good, but their exclusive skill is literally what defines them. So what I've done is I'm actually really quickly, I'm going to show you what the shinies look like, and then I'm also going to firstly show you what I call the inverted list of what Kardmi are worth it without their skills, because like I said, you may not get lucky, and you may not actually get their skill from the vending machine. So really quick, because I don't need to dive into a bunch of detail when it comes to this inverted list, I have Jenilex jumps all the way down to number 6 without her exclusive skill, just because, like I said, Time Warp is a okay passive, but it's just her unique skill literally defines her. Really cool design, really cool implications. However, without her Celestial Blessing, she's just not worth capturing a shiny if you do not have Celestial Blessing already. So, number 5, we are back at Sylviven. Sylviven is just a very, very mid card me, in my opinion, without Divine Descent. Really nothing special about this flying psychic type. Rain Dance is just another terrible, terrible passive to have on a Legendary Kardmi. Maybe one day these guys will get a little buff, little facelift. We'll see. But number 4, we have Thundermamm. Again, just because how situational she is in terms of fighting Ice-type Kardmi. At number 3, we have Picagarre. Even if you strip away Nirvanic Battle Dance, she's a really good Kardmi, because her Soul Flow ability allows her to really partner with anybody who has these kind of like nuke AoE abilities. Coming in at number 2, we have Cobark. Like I said, take away his Endless Nightmares, which is just an absolute game changer when it comes to skills. You still have a really good synergy if you run Hypnosis on some of your Kardmi. And he can get that extra 50% damage on Kardmi that are asleep. And then that leaves number 1, which is Mantinic. You take away, or Mantinic, excuse me, and you take away his Mantis Punch. Even without Mantis Punch, his Magical Shell passive makes him extremely powerful. He can't be debuffed, and then he does already a lot of damage. He's still super fast, so his damage per second is going to be just the highest of anyone here. And these support Kardmi, once you take away their support signature abilities, they're not really as worth it. But now, really quick, I'm going to go ahead and dive into these shinies here. I probably won't say a whole lot, but I'll let you guys go ahead and just skim through the shinies and let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you learned something. If you did, make sure you smash that like button because it really, really helps the channel. And I will catch you guys in the next one.